And you guys, that's the kind of righteousness that borders on serial killer behavior.
I did that joke outside of Provo once, and somebody from the audience yelled out, "New Testament's truer!" And I was like, I think I'll believe the one that was made in America. Okay.
This is gonna be the best day ever. This is gonna be the best day ever. Wake up.
Can you relate, dog?
Absolutely.
How so?
No, it was also during that period of time that the most active serial killers of all time were running around because we were all easy pickings.
How has that not made it into a conference talk? Got our scripture notes up and running. All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Word Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by Rodney Norman. Oh, I like your... Wait, hold on. I realize I don't have your right. Now I got your right. How you doing, man?
I am absolutely splendid.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Thank you.
So, I really like the kind of man bun thing that you're. It's giving you like a headband.
Not intended, but hey, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome. So, I'm looking over our show notes here, and you got family friendly funnies with Rodney Norman on Jordan Makin and. If you grew up religious, you might be a serial killer. What is this? What's going on?
You got to hear it.
Okay, we're just going to jump right in.
Yep. Let's do it.
Jump right in. This is Jordan Makin on, I don't know where this is, but if you grew up religious, you might be a serial killer. Okay, let's see him defend his thesis. Jordan Makin, go.
I grew up in a religious household. I know people in Provo don't relate to this, but I grew up very religious. And like I said, like my family, we'd play games together. But again, if there was like something sinful in the game, we would just like remove that. My favorite game with my family was Two Truths and a Truth. Now maybe you're wondering how do you play that? It's pretty simple actually. All you have to do is say 3 true things, and then your family has to figure out which one's the most true.
Oh, dude. Okay. Before we go any further, can you relate, dog?
Absolutely.
How so? Okay, so my mom and dad, both of them were basically converts in one way or another. My mom was a convert. So a lot of these weird Utah-isms I did not grow up with, though I've heard them joked about. But there was one that my mom, it was such a North American Protestant thing, and she totally espoused it. But what was yours?
Oh, ours, we would listen to songs and we would always try to change the lyrics so that they were more conducive to the spirit.
You know what? Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine, never understood a single word he said, but he helped him drink his juice. Was yes. What my stepfather, many know him as my father, sang when he was first dating my mom, and that's when my mom decided that she thought he'd be a good father because he euphemized wine into juice. So what was yours?
Was a Steve Miller Band. He's a smoker, he's a toker, he's a midnight joker. We just changed it to he's a joker, he's a midnight joker. Wasn't very creative, but that's what you know.
Oh, that's too funny. That is such a silly thing that I do not do in my family.
Well, it's a Utah thing to just change the words to songs to make them more conducive.
So my mom was an elementary school teacher, and I think a lot of that actually came, she was from California. And so hers was more just like, a concern for propriety as, a public educator. Don't have a TV in a kid's room because 85% of all kids that have a TV in the kids' room end up being illiterate, or just like all these silly kind of neoliberal stats that you get coming out of the 80s and 90s. But there was one where she was concerned about me, and she was concerned. For a short period of time when I was getting into magic tricks, she was asking me well, are you playing with the face cards or are you just doing the magic tricks? Right. And then when I started playing Magic the Gathering, and I was in junior high, and I wanted to get my first expansion pack and deck of Magic the Gathering because my buddies were into Magic the Gathering. She was just so deeply concerned because she had heard about what some of those people do in those seances of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
And, necromancers, spiritualism. What is this, Cardin? It's
yeah.
Okay, so he pegged it a little bit. I could see how that's probably on steroids. That was the Christian right in the 80s and 90s, but that was probably on steroids in Provo. Let's see what else he has to say.
Yeah.
Let's see what else he's got to say.
So let me give you an example. This is work in my house, not every house. This is work in my house. So it's my turn. I can say, okay, family, here we go. Old Testament, New Testament, Book of Mormon. Because all were true, but we knew one was a little bit truer. I did that joke outside of Provo once, and somebody from the audience yelled out, New Testament's truer! And I was like, I think I'll believe one that was made in America.
That was savage! Dude, we have to stay. How is that not made it into a conference talk?
I don't know. It's funny though, isn't it?
Dude, that was freaking hilarious. So, dude, I just thought of one other one before we go here. I thought of another one that was funny. My mom, being a public educator, were you allowed to say sucks growing up?
My family, it was okay, but I had friends that if I went to their house, they let me know that sucks and stupid were considered swear words.
Get out of town, really?
Yeah, there were places you could not say stupid.
Would you get in trouble? Did you ever have to actually physically wash your mouth out with soap?
I had my, it happened to be once when I called my uncle an effer. I was like, I didn't know, I just knew that, hey, if you really hated somebody, that was what you called them. And so he was teasing me. He used to grab my belly and pinch it because I was a little chubby kid.
Yeah.
And
you were chubby?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was his thing. He'd pinch your gut. He'd pinch your belly and go, hey, porky boy. Hey, porky boy. And so I said, you're a stupid effer. And he picked me up, carried me into the bathroom, and stuck a bar of lava soap, made me bite down on it.
Back when any adult could
absolutely. You did something to an adult.
Discipline any other child, and it was like mutual discipline.
Well, and it worked for society because you know that and at any point in time an adult could correct you.
Yeah.
And so that you learn to respect others. Nowadays, kids know, hey, I can do whatever I want. They can't do anything to me because
well, that's true. When did that go away? What was that like, for example?
It was, I would say it was about mid 80s is when it started.
Really?
Yeah, just well, because there was the conservative, they were stealing kids. I mean, we talk about.
Also now it's like you can't trust each other as much. Like it's like, you're friends with your Democrat buddies. It's like, I don't want you trans in my kid. Like,
I mean, I think there's some warranted, like I said, my childhood, we all like to glamorize it. Like, oh, we got to drink out of the garden hose and play till the lights went on. And no, it was also during that period of time that the most active serial killers of all time were running around because we were all easy pickings. You know what I mean?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
How did they get away with killing 60 kids and burying them in their basement? What? We had no supervision. We're all running around free. But
also, I hear it's safer for kids now than it ever was, even though we have a heightened awareness of insecurity as promoted by the media.
Yeah, but it kind of swings a kind of a different way because we're more secure in a lot of ways, but because we are more secure, a lot of times our guard goes down and it makes it easier for them to groom them. So they're different about it and they're smarter about it now. Okay. But back then you could literally just, drive your van down the street and pull over and pick up a couple kids and, do whatever. Now you got to now you got to become a baseball coach and you got to buy them toys and video games. You got to kind of work your way in.
Yeah.
So
brutal.
We've made it more
Brutal.
difficult, which is a good thing, but
Wow. Okay. Cool.
we still need to be vigilant.
So have you met this Jordan Makin guy?
Oh yes, I'm very good friends with Jordan.
Oh, shut up! Really?
Yeah.
Dude, we got to get this guy on the show. Man.
Yeah,
He's
he
like
would
funny.
He's a very funny fella.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I'm curious, who else had the not able to say sucks growing up upbringing? You know what I'm saying? That's actually a really good question that I do. Oh my gosh, that was such a pervasive cultural thing. Like, I am so glad we are over that. Although I don't think we are, because my wife's sister, she's pretty proper in speech with her kids as well, and it's kind of funny. So anyway, yeah.
I interesting anecdote to this whole thing. My grandmother was
your Korean mother?
My grandmother.
Oh, I thought you said my Korean mother. It's like, you have two of them, like multiples?
But she was a temple worker, right?
Oh, cool. Rock on.
And she always had this thing that, you know, when you would say heck or darn, she used to say, look, the sentiment is the same, so just use the regular word and quit sounding like an idiot.
Oh my heck, it's gone and done.
She's like, damn it, hell, sometimes are appropriate.
Your grandmother, who was a temple worker?
Oh yeah, she was a wonderful woman.
Oh dude, this is awesome. It's a lost generation. It's a lost art.
Yes.
Like, holy smoke. That's I miss these people already. So anyway, any thoughts before we go, bro? Any thoughts before we go?
I'm ready. Let's keep rolling with Jordan.
Good. Oh, actually, I think that's the end of the clip. Are there any more?
There's more. Jordan Makin is a very funny fellow, very prolific.
Okay, cool. So I see there's another clip here for if you swear you might be a serial killer.
Yes.
That's a good thumbnail. I give the guy good titling credit. That is clickbait right there. Let's see what he has to say. Jordan, go.
I grew up in a religious household. I know people in this town don't relate, but I grew up very religious. My family were so religious we didn't swear. We were the type of family that, like, if we were listening to music and there was a dirty word coming up, we would sing over it with a cleaner but dumber word. And it got very pervasive. It got to the point where we would change the names of things all the time. We started changing the titles of movies if we thought it was too much. So I remember when the original Hellboy came out, I was in junior high. I really wanted to go rent it from Blockbuster, rest in peace. But I needed a ride, so I went to my older brother, Jeremiah. Oh, is that funny? I have a brother named Zachariah also. And my parents were really debating between Jordan or Habakkuk for me. And Habakkuk's an Old Testament prophet, but you knew. You know, right after Nahab, right before Zephaniah, prime real estate. So I went to Jeremiah. I said, hey, Jeremiah, can we go to Blockbuster and rent Hellboy? And he was so disappointed. He looked right at me and said, oh, Jordan, I think you mean Heck Boy. And I said, brother, forgive me, for I have sinned. And let me tell you more about Jeremiah here for a little bit. So Jeremiah and I grew up loving Saturday morning cartoons, superhero cartoons. And this was right when the first superhero movies were coming out. Hellboy came out, the first X-Men movie came out, and we loved X-Men. It was our favorite. But if you remember the original X-Men, there's this character named Mystique, and she is all blue and she can shapeshift in other people. But in the movie, they decided she wouldn't wear clothes. She would just have blue makeup all over her body, which was obviously too provocative for Jeremiah. But he really wanted to go see it. He wanted to take me to see it, but he wanted to feel comfortable taking me to see it. So he devised a plan where he would feel comfortable. So what he did before the movie is he took 2 pieces of paper.
Oh, this is going to be cringe.
And with each of them, he cut out 2 tiny dresses. One for me and one for him. So while we're in the theater with strangers, whenever Mystique came on screen, we could just cover her naked body. And you guys, that's the kind of righteousness that borders on serial killer behavior. That is too far. If you ever meet a guy in a dark alley that's like, hello, my name is Jeremiah. I am clean cut and I do not swear.
and at all times I have 2 tiny dresses in my pocket. He'll kill you. Get away from him.
Do you think that's real? Do you think that's real? Or do you think he's making
I
it
know
up?
people that are like this.
Shut up. Really?
Oh, yeah. Growing up in Utah, there were people who were just absolutely, as I like to call it, spiritually correct.
Holy
You know how we have political correctness, you have spiritual correctness in Utah, especially like if somebody starts smoking near them, they have to start coughing and
virtue signal
that it's hurt, it's tormenting their soul that you're smoking near them. I've had people who complain about they get headaches just smelling coffee. Because they're so spiritual that like they're physically repulsed by the sin of coffee.
These people are so weird.
Yeah.
These people are so weird. I can't believe that. I remember the very first time, although I do give Utah credit. I remember when I went to BYU that I'd settled in the dorms and I was, just living the life, being a normal freshman, sophomore, whatever it was. And I remember we went to the movie theater, and the movie theater was at the mall, at the Provo Mall. I think the old one, not the new one. And I remember as we walked in the movie theater, there was someone smoking outside. And you know how sometimes when you smell something, it just triggers memories?
Yeah.
And I think it's your olfactory nervous system is different than your regular nervous system. So it can, trigger flashbacks, memories. I just thought like, it smelled like home to me. It smelled like Los Angeles. And I remember thinking like, I haven't smelt this in, I swear, months. I think I'd been in Provo for months. And I remember thinking like, okay, that's kind of cool that, I had this experience. But then also I remember kind of thinking like, we literally have a society where people don't smoke. Like that's actually kind of cool, So I didn't know whether or not it was kind of cringe or whether it was kind of cool, but I just remember feeling like, whoa, oh my gosh, I have not smelt that in literally months. So, okay,
it's funny to me because I have that same kind of, when I smell cigarette smoke, I have fond memories of the cigarette smoke because my grandfather, who my act is partially based on, was a chain smoker and an alcoholic. And so he would sit there and smoke all the time. So I always had fond memories of smoke smell because I loved my grandfather. I mean, he had an enormous amount of faults, but he was still, as a kid, he was legend. Funny, and he was, and then of course our family was into racing. And at the races, there was a lot of smoking going on. So I had that association.
Macho man.
So to me, the cigarette smoke is kind of like you. It's like, reminds me of home, reminds me of younger days.
All right. So there's more to this clip. Should we keep going?
Yeah, let's go.
Should we keep going? Okay, let's see what he's got to say.
So I was at Blockbuster with Jeremiah to rent Heck Boy. And it was the first weekend it was out. We went and it was all sold out. There weren't any copies left. And I said, oh no. And my brother said, I shall ask. And I said, please do not ask. But he was determined. He went straight to the cashier. He said, excuse me, sir. Do you perchance have any more copies of Heck Boy in stock? You ever been with your family and you're just like, I wish I was anything but related to you right now. But the cashier said something amazing.
It is so true. I'm so sorry. Not necessarily my family, but I have friends where I've just been like, dude, y'all be weird, man.
Something I still think about. The cashier looked right at him and said, oh, sorry, we're all out of Heck Boy, but we did just get in the special edition of the Gosh Father trilogy.
The audience is not... Dude, what is wrong with that dry bar audience?
It's a small audience.
Why aren't they roaring? That was a funny one.
It's a small audience. This was filmed back during COVID. So the audiences were spread out. So you'd normally have about 140, 150 people in this room. For this, they've only got because of COVID restrictions during this filming, they've only got about 50 people in there.
You're kidding.
And
me.
They're all spread out.
And they're all wearing masks.
Yeah, so I ran into the same problem with one of my specials, that it was during COVID, so everybody was muffled and
Oh my
muzzled
gosh.
and everything. So
okay, well, let's let him
So
finish.
no, I've seen this bit done in front of a live audience in a comedy club, and it is hilarious. It is very funny bit.
Dude, yeah,
So
this guy's...
Don't let the audio from this clip
Don't let it
disparage
impact you.
from wanting to see Jordan Makin.
Okay, so here he finishes.
I don't know if that cashier was making fun of us or if he was one of us.
Yeah.
That's a good line.
Oh my gosh. All right, dude. All right, so this was true in your sentiment, in your experience, huh?
Oh yes. I've known and associated with many people with this very same mentality.
Oh, that
growing
is
up
too
in
funny.
Utah.
Is it going away or no?
I think it is. I think we're realizing that spiritual correctness is just virtue signaling.
Spiritual correctness. That is such a good term, dude.
That's what I
Spiritual
coined it, yeah.
correctness. Okay, awesome. Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Were you raised spiritually correct? Do you
Yes.
raise your children spiritually correct? Oh,
There it is.
yes, there it is. We're ending on time. That is perfect. We just got a grandfather clock in the studio, and we are just stoked about it.
It's beautiful.
So anyway, all right, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, for this and more, please check us out at WardRadio.com.
This is gonna be the best day ever. This is gonna be the best day ever. Wake up, top of the morning. The bacon is crispy, the coffee is pouring.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. We assume if you made it this far that you liked our content, so please make sure you like this video and you share it with your friends. Now, in order to keep this content flowing freely, we need your help. If you're a person of means, please check us out on Venmo, the Cash App, or Zelle and consider a direct contribution to the channel. Or you could always go to WardRadio.com and sign up for our newsletter there. And while you're there, maybe consider purchasing some merch. We have some really cool hats, some really cool shirts, so you can strut your stuff and support the channel that way. Or if you're a kind of person that wants to just help out with some of the equipment in the studio, we have an Amazon wish list linked in the description as well. And don't forget scripturenotes.com. You have to read your scriptures daily, and scripturenotes.com is frankly the coolest way to study your scriptures, and they're a very generous sponsor of this channel. So please consider a free trial with scripturenotes.com. The link to Scripture Notes will also be in the description of this video. Either way, whether you're pressing this little button right here to subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends, or whether you are actually hitting this button right here just to watch another video, we look forward to seeing you in the next program.